Now I have a question for you. Why is the media, we'll just say government in general, right? Government media, like that mainstream collective narrative, right?
Yeah.
Why do they not advocate? I mean, they might, but it's very limited, right? In the sense they'll show it like maybe once a month or some shit like that, right? And why do they not portray that?
Because so they can keep the people under their thumb.
I put my phone on, do not disturb. Don't wanna talk, I don't wanna hear a word.
I really liked. We talked about this a lot, just like in just different ways of saying it, but really questioning, the information out there, whether it's truthful or not, like synthesizing from perspectives, and like really because you can fall into the trap of thinking your beliefs are facts. We say this a lot, because if you are closed-minded, right, into open questions such as really any area that or a topic that you're discussing at the moment, and you think your opinion is 100% flawless, has no flaws, can't be refuted, and it is ultimately absolute,
Then you need to, number one, defend that. Prove it.
yeah.
Number two,
Yeah,
what are you saying?
100%. Like, there's a 99.999% chance it's not like absolute. All right,
Yeah.
because most likely that shit would have been fucking posted in some peer-reviewed journal.
Yeah.
And like it would have been a fact.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are very great arguments out there. You look at different philosophies, but almost every single philosophy, way of life, belief system has its flaws, right?
Yeah.
Because you place them in these real-world situations, and they're like, oh wait, that doesn't work, right? Because
Yeah.
like, for example, you could be like, oh, moderation and everything, right? Like, that sounds good. Well, like, moderation and fucking, oh, God, what is it called? Genocide?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, my philosophy is...
What if I don't kill everybody?
Yeah.
What if I only kill like half of them?
Yeah. So it's like, it's when you... Using that kind of analogy, even though we are not promoting genocide or, anything like that.
Look what happened to Hitler. Don't be Hitler.
Yeah. You have to recognize and realize that there is a margin of error, right? And you have to be open to that, right? You got to realize that belief and that jump you were taking from what you think is true to the fact, that belief, right, that faith jump, can be very dangerous, and it can limit you into discovering new things that can be so profound and help you in so many ways. And kind of to connect this back to the media will be like, okay, listen, COVID is really bad, people are dying left and right, and like, don't get me wrong, like, all this stuff is true, right? And you look at the beginning of the pandemic, right? I'm not questioning the medical side, obviously these are experts, right? And I'm not a medical expert by any means, right?
We're college students, we have no money. We're not professionals.
Yeah. But you more so look at like how people are behaving. Stuff we can judge because we participate at literally 100%, like every single second of every single day, right? And you pay attention to the energy dynamic, that type of stuff. How the media is controlling people's attentions and realities, right? And when you look at the beginning of the pandemic, right? And to be fair, right? When we didn't know the severity of this shit, right? Mm-hmm. We did not know like how bad it was going to be, but everyone, including myself, I'm not going to say everyone, but a great deal of people turned their attention to like CNN, Fox, right? And all these different things. And they're like, okay, listen, you do not leave your home, you stay 6 feet, wear a mask, all this shit that is effective and makes sense, right? Like medically, But it was almost like when we got boots back on the ground, right? When shit got opened back up. And we really got that real world experience. At least for me, I was a waiter. I was going back to the gym. I actually did catch COVID, but it wasn't bad at all for me. I know it's different in many cases, but I realized it is not like how they're portraying it on the media, right? Because they're portraying one reality, but then why am I experiencing a different one? Even though it's my own subjective experience, how I perceive the media was like people are dying on the streets, right? It's like...
Yeah, it's like the plague. We just have corpse
shit falling from the sky. That's not how it is, and that's not how it's portrayed, and that's one of the main reasons why I haven't gotten this vaccine. It's because, don't get me wrong, it's safe, it's effective. I'm not, like, against people getting it, you know what I mean? I'm not going to, like, fucking banish you out my life if that's the case, It's just, for me, personally, I think there's a lot of unawareness and a lot that they're not portraying, right? Such as, because a lot of, like, to get into this, and we're just using this as an example. You can always disagree with me. I'm just expressing my point, right? Because a lot of times, like with COVID, right, they'll be like, okay, wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, this helps within the immune process, right, because you're not getting infected with it. They don't say anything about, like, exercise. They don't say anything about nutrition, about eating, about meditating, about staying stress-free.
Yes.
All this shit, dude. But what are they doing? They're keeping people in a fear state of mind with their...
Fear-mongering.
Fear-mongering, exactly, right? And when people are in fear, right, they're easier to control. And we discussed this in the last...
Yes.
When they're easier to control, what are they going to do? They're going to keep watching you. They're vulnerable, right? Because they think... They're less likely to question, right? And they think what you're saying is fact. Right?
Yeah, they look to look to positions of authority to reassure them.
Exactly.
Like, look no further than back in, I believe, it was either World War I or World War II when FDR had his fireside chats. No, don't get me wrong. Not World War II. It was the Depression.
Okay.
Or late in the Depression, I think.
New Deal or something like that? I don't fucking know.
Like, a little bit pre-New Deal. James would know about this.
Okay.
He's the history master. But nonetheless, the point is, people were scared. And they look to their president to reassure them. And they're looking for higher places of authority in order to help them feel better about the situation they're in.
Yeah.
And, like, going back to the, what you were saying, I forget what it was, but essentially, there's a lot, like, the COVID thing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of misinformation. So much. The shit sea grew fucking massive.
Yeah.
Because everybody was panicking and throwing out everything they thought they knew.
Yeah.
Which, props to Instagram for factoring in, like, hey, visit these sites to see real COVID information. True. Which is, respect to Instagram for doing that. But, like, also, like, going back to the whole...
I got a point to add to that.
Yeah, they're not telling us about the nutrition. Me, Hayden, and our friend Zach, we were hitting sauna at school. And this, like, that was another thing that helped. Like, none of us caught COVID, to my knowledge. I don't know so much about Zach, but I'm fairly certain the three of us have not caught COVID.
Yeah.
That's because we were going to the gym actively pre-COVID, pre-lockdown and everything.
Yeah.
And we were going to the sauna regularly, which the heat shock proteins and everything helps your body. Like, it boosts your immune system.
Yeah.
I was taking I take cold showers.
Yeah.
Like. I was eating good.
Yeah.
I was going to the gym. I was exercising. Staying healthy. What is it? I don't know if I'm necessarily sure, but doesn't like lifting weights increase bone density, which I think byproduct increases like white blood cells.
It's very beneficial to the body to just be exercising in general.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, but like the same thing. It's like boosted the immune system, and that. I feel like that, coupled with my like already kind of good genetics in terms of my immune system that I get for like my grandfather and my dad, that has helped. That helped me beat the virus. It helped me beat the virus, so I didn't even get it.
Yeah, beat it before you get it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like that's what people should be like. Joe Rogan was a good proponent of this because he's always like speaking his truth. Yeah, and promoting like fitness and stuff. And he was telling like everybody about like what he saw from his circle, which he keeps a lot of very intelligent, licensed doctors and physicians in his circle that he has on the podcast regularly. He was telling people that like, hey, get like vitamin C or D or something like that. It was some supplement that helps helped immune health. Yeah. And it's like that's what they were like. Dr. Fauci or whatever, and the people on the news were like hiding from you. They were like, stay away from people. Yeah. And be afraid. And people, there was that, COVID anxiety disorder thing we were talking about? Yeah. That was created. Or not, actually, no, it was created.
Yeah. It's a form of anxiety, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, from people being cooped up and not getting sunlight. Exactly. Like, there is, like, don't get me wrong, we're not anti-America, but like...
No, we're just for truth,
We question everything. Yeah. And... I'm going to be honest. This is speaking my truth.
Yeah, 100%. Same, bro.
I don't vote.
I don't vote either.
I probably won't because I know there's corruption in both parties. Yeah. There's corruption in everything. Yeah. So I refuse to participate in a system that will like allow corruption and like look no further than what the fuck has happened in the past year. Yeah. We got don't get me wrong. We're getting into some very political territory here. Yeah. This is all opinion. Yeah. Okay. This is just what we've seen, what we've experienced, what we're saying.
Yeah. Question it.
The George Floyd situation, I don't think anybody has said that's like, yeah, It's good what that cop did.
Yeah.
No, that was fucked up and terrible,
Yeah.
without question.
Yeah.
But the response from the people, like the peaceful protests, were fine. But there were people that quickly accelerated those into riots. That is not good.
No.
And out of those was born anarchy. Look no further than, like, I think it was like a block and a half or something that Antifa or some radical leftist group hijacked an entire city block and turned it into a government-free zone. And immediately it became like a fascist regime. Like, people were like getting beaten and sometimes shot in this free zone that the police couldn't infiltrate, and everybody was like, defund the police, but
totally moves away from like the original message.
exactly, it's tainting the memory of this kind of, dude. Now, don't get me wrong, it's been proven that George Floyd was no saint, but that doesn't mean he wasn't.
He didn't deserve.
He didn't deserve to get his fucking throat stomped on and killed. But and the Capitol shit too.
Yeah.
Like, all of this shit is born from corruption and the distraction that they're pushing on us all the time.
Yeah.
And
100%.
like, we are, selfly proclaimed enlightened to this bullshit.
Yeah.
So we refuse to participate in it.
Yeah, 100%.
We like, it's like Joe Rogan was saying, and I'm very much a fan of this podcast. That's why I'm kind of preaching what he's saying. But he doesn't look at the comments anymore because it's just toxicity. He has a saying: post and ghost. And sometimes, you just have to ghost in general. Like, sometimes it's like, fucking
Intimidate your reality.
yeah, and like you're talking about mental diet. What you consume affects up here, and a lot. Like, we're gonna run it back to what we were saying in the last podcast, or at least what I was saying about female body image. And this is opinions. Like, this is all opinions
From experience.
from what I have seen, and it's like that. All these Instagram models and shit is like, hey, especially the OnlyFans thing. That was born kind of COVID, and it's like
It's normalized, dude.
yeah, and it's like now like teenage girls are starting OnlyFans and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like because they need validation from like people that really.
I think that's the way.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't really be giving it out, and they shouldn't really be needing that anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I don't want to say.
Do what you want, but realize the effects that come with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, look, it's. I don't think it's as much a problem with guys, but I mean, it's still I can't speak on this because my circle of friends is filled with people like Cal who know what the fuck is going on, and from their point of view, they can kind of discern what's
Bullshit.
kind of toxic and what is. But it's like,
distraction. Yeah.
at least from what I've seen, it's not that guys don't really need that much validation, too much, but on social media, I've seen a lot of stuff of all of this, these men's rights activists and stuff like that, and incels are these are guys that either have a kind of low-key vendetta against women because they're not giving them attention, but they're focused on attention from girls, which don't get me wrong, if a pretty girl gives you attention, it feels good.
9 times out of 10, she's gonna go right through.
It feels good.
yeah.
And sometimes your response to that isn't necessarily that good, but it still feels good when a girl compliments you, or as from a straight dude perspective. But it's it feels good, but some guys chase that dragon still. And when they don't, if they see the same thing, with girls, they see a guy that gets a lot of girls, has a lot of money, looks good, and they're like, I want to be like that guy, but I'm not like that guy, so I feel shitty. I don't get attention from girls, so I feel shitty.
Yeah.
I'm fat and I don't move at all, so I feel shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it's I'm depressed because I can't be that guy. But from the people I've seen, they don't really, or at least the people in my friend group, they don't need to be somebody else because they know what they love and who they are.
Yeah.
And that's what
That's it, man.
you have to resist that kind of negative emotion that is brought about by what you see online.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a distraction. And, like, I kind of contradicted myself there, but I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, in my, like, from what I've seen in terms of my circle of real people, you know, it's not much of a problem. But online, there's so much presence of these kind of, like, toxic guys that are just kind of like, look, I'm sad. I don't like talking to people. Don't leave me alone. You know, like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into the whole alpha beta shit because I think that's horseshit.
No, 100%.
But it's like people will classify you based on shit.
I'm built different.
Yeah, if you have to say you're built different, you're fucking not.
Yeah, just that very statement alone just reveals
that reveals you as a absolute cringe compilation of a human being. But nonetheless, that is beside the point.
Yeah.
The point is, don't let someone else or what they dictate who you will become.
Whatever beliefs they throw on you.
Yep.
I put my phone on, do not disturb. Don't wanna talk, I don't wanna hear a word. I got these feelings I be feeling inside.